He looked at me and said, "This is me."
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's ceremony. Music is presented by the Texas Children's Choir under the direction of Dr. Thomas G. Hardaway II, Colonel, U.S. Army retired, and Fort Sam's own 323rd Army Band, commanded by the Warrant Officer Corps, Jared Delaney and Corporal Alejandro Ojeda. We will hear more from these folks throughout the ceremony. We ask that you please turn off your cell phones and lock electronic devices so they will not disturb the ceremony. We also remind veterans that it is appropriate to salute the American flag when the colors pass before them and playing our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, even though you may not be in uniform. Our MC for today's ceremony is Lieutenant Michael Wydella, United States Navy.
Thank you, Robert. Our Sergeant at Arms this morning is Air Force Master Sergeant Retired Robert Reyes. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us on this national holiday, Veterans Day. As all across this great nation, American people pause to honor our veterans, past, present, and future, those who served, those who are now serving, and those preparing to serve this nation in the days ahead. On this day in history, 11 November 1921, the remains of an unknown soldier were solemnly delivered to the Arlington National Cemetery, which overlooked our nation's capital. His flag-draped body being carried on the same simple carriage that once bore the body of Abraham Lincoln. That fallen soldier, whose name is known only to God, had been killed while fighting for his country in the trenches of Western Europe. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, that soldier has finally laid to rest in his home soil. The tomb of the unknown soldier serves as a reminder to all Americans that the price of freedom has never been free. At this time, I'll call upon our Sergeant at Arms for the presentation of our national colors. Receiving the colors will be Lieutenant General Timothy Hawk.
Please rise for the presentation of the colors by the MacArthur High School Junior ROTC Color Guard. All military uniform will salute with the advance of the colors. Please remain standing until the colors have been presented and the invocation has been delivered. Color Guard, advance the colors. The colors. Sir, the colors are presented. Present the colors. Command, attention, pending the plan of the Star Spangled Banner, colors will receive. Color sergeant will then sound order arms. Colors will remain in place until after the Star Spangled Banner is played. Please rise and join in singing the Star Spangled Banner by the Texas Children's Choir. Color guard, hoist the colors. Our invocation will be delivered by Chaplain Joe Walsh. Chaplain.
Thank you. As I lead the prayer from the podium, I invite you to engage in your own prayer experience where you are positioned. Almighty God, loving in your nature, gracious in so many areas of our personal lives, thank you for this occasion. Thank you for the historic background where we used to call it Armistice Day. And now as we engage here, I pray that you give special liberty to all these who participate as program personalities, giving them freedom of expression this day. Hear us, O God, from the depths of our heart, as we thank you for all the veterans who have served our nation in such a magnificent manner, many of them even making the supreme sacrifice. As we meet on these grounds, and so many memories flash through the minds of many of these in attendance, now, dear God, make this a special day for us here and for America in general on this Veterans Day of 2021. Amen.
Please be seated. Now I will read a poem of the military spouse. The good Lord was creating a model for military spouses and was into his 6th day of overtime when an angel appeared. She said, "Lord, you seem to be having trouble with this one. What's wrong? What's wrong with the standard model?" The Lord replied, "Have you seen the specs on this order? They have to be completely independent, possess the qualities of both mother and father, be a perfect host for 4 to 40 with an hour notice, run on black coffee, handle every emergency imaginable without even a manual, be able to carry on cheerfully even when she is pregnant and has the flu. She must have 6 pairs of hands." The angel shook her head. 6 pairs of hands? No way. The Lord continued, "Don't worry. We will make other military spouses to help them. And we will give them an unusually strong heart so that it can swell with pride in their spouse's achievements. Sustain pain of separation. Beat soundly when it is overworked and tired. And be large enough to say, 'I understand,' when they don't. And I love you regardless." "Lord," said the angel, touching his arm gently, "go to bed, get some rest. You can finish this tomorrow." "I can't stop now. I am so close to creating something unique. Already this model heals themselves when they are sick, can put up 6 unprecedented guesses for the weekend, wave goodbye to their spouse from a pier, a runway, or a depot, and understand why it's important that they leave." The angel circled the model of the military spouse, looked at it closely and sighed. "It looks fine, but it's too soft." "They may look soft," replied the Lord, "but they have the strength of a lion. You wouldn't believe what they can endure." Finally, the angel bent over, ran her finger across the cheek of the Lord's creation. "There's a leak," she announced. "Something is wrong with the construction. I'm not surprised that it has cracked. You're trying to put too much into this model." The Lord appeared offended at the angel's lack of confidence. What you see is not a leak, he said. It's a tear. A tear? What is it there for? Asked the angel. The Lord replied, it's for joy, sadness, pain, disappointment, loneliness, pride, and dedication to all the values that they and their spouse hold dear. You are genius, exclaimed the angel. The Lord looked puzzled and replied, I didn't put it there. I am a firm believer that we forget two categories of individuals that play an extremely important role in a veteran's life. They are the spouses and children of our veterans. Will all spouses of veterans and their children please stand and accept a round of applause for your dedication and loyalty? Thank you. At this time, I would like to recognize our distinguished guests. Distinguished guests, when you are introduced, would you and your spouse, if present, please stand and be recognized. I'd also like to ask the audience, please hold their applause until everyone has been introduced. Mayor Ron Nirenberg, Lieutenant General Timothy Hawk and spouse Sherry, Major General John Wilcox, and the Honorable Michael E. Mary of the 114th District Court. Additionally, I would like to recognize all of you who are present. You are here to give your time, affection, and respect to America's veterans. Thank you for coming. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Aubrey David, Director, Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery, who will give the opening remarks. Mr. David?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's ceremony on the hallowed grounds of Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. Today, we welcome all of our veterans in attendance. On this day, we gather to honor and recognize your service, your sacrifice, and all veterans that keep our country safe and free. This day is about you and to say thank you. I want to give a special thank you to all of our Vietnam veterans who are here with us today, and welcome home. I'd also like to take a moment to thank my staff. Many are here today. They put blood, sweat, and tears into maintaining this national cemetery, and I thank them for all that they do as well. So I'd like to take my time this morning to welcome and recognize a very important veteran. One that has been by my side for 8 years, provided support to our cemetery, and many more than that. Mr. Tom Ernest has been in many different roles with many organizations in the San Antonio community. I'd like to share some of his many accomplishments over the past 17 years with you today. Tom has been with the Memorial Services Detachment for 17 years, serving as Commander 2 years, Finance Officer 3 years, and Vice Commander for 7 years. He was the President of the Veterans Greater San Antonio area for 10 years, and their mission was to support our ceremonies and our Avenue of Flags. Mr. Ernest also organized and executed Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies since 2009. He also assisted in coordinating our Vietnam veterans ceremonies since 2016. He organized the Memorial Services Detachment's participation and partnership with the Buffalo Soldiers, San Antonio chapter, performing rifle volleys, sounding of taps, and annual Veterans Day ceremony at San Antonio National Cemetery, which is later on today at 1:30 if you'd like to attend. He organized and executed burials for veterans under the Missing in America Project. He served on the Bexar County VSO Unaccompanied Veterans Committee. He served on the state of Texas World War I 100th anniversary, representing Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. He represented the Memorial Services Detachment at the Korean veteran Gilberto L. Sanchez Committal Service, missing in action since December 1950 from the Chosin Reservoir. Killed in action December 1953, unidentified until 2014, whose remains, after identification, were interred here at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery in 2015. He arranged for the Memorial Services Detachment, color guard, flag folders, and buglers to sound taps at the UT Health Cell System and Anatomy for burial, honoring those veterans that donated their bodies for training and research. Organized and executed USS Cole ceremony here for Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. He started the Wreaths Across America program, and he is still volunteers with them today. He's been placing flags with the Boy Scouts on Memorial Day and as a Scoutmaster since 1977. He worked with Douglas MacArthur High School Army, JROTC, to perform Memorial Day and Veteran Day ceremonies in the Missing in America Project. With the help of Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery staff, he organized the Public Information Center and staffed the Public Information Center with volunteers. He also organized a ceremony honoring all World War II veterans, and especially those 30 that were POWs of Japanese in helping to build bridge over the River Kwai and were able to return home after the war. These 30 survivors of the Death Railway Project are resting at peace here at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. None of these accomplishments are more important to me than being a good friend. Today I thank you, Tom, for all volunteer efforts with the presentation of this plaque, and I thank you for assisting us with everything you've done at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. So if you and Joyce, Manny, if you could please come up.
Thank you, Mr. David, for welcoming our veterans and their guests to this ceremony, and for all you and your staff do for us. Fort Sam's own 323rd Army Band will now play the respective service songs. The words for each song are in the program. Texas Children's Choir will now sing God Bless America. Wasn't that great? How about that fantastic performance of the Texas Children's Choir? We will now honor several of our brothers and sisters in arms who, by any stretch of the imagination, are truly unsung heroes. These are men and women who were not even citizens of our great nation, yet decided to defend all the freedoms and ideals of the United States. Conducting the nationalization ceremony for these warriors is U.S. Magistrate Judge Honorable Richard Ferrer. Assisting in the ceremony will be Officer Santiago Santos, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Officer. Your Honor, if you please.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. As you heard, I'm Rich Ferrer. I'm a United States Magistrate Judge, and I have the honor to preside at today's ceremony. And it truly is an honor today. First, it's an honor to be here today on Veterans Day, speaking to all of you in this amazing setting. Today, our entire country pauses to honor those who have served and who will serve our country. And I join all of my fellow Americans in honoring and thanking all of our amazing and brave veterans. Second, it's also an honor and a privilege to be here today to perform a naturalization ceremony. I get to do quite a few of these. And it's one of the highlights of my service as a federal judge. But they've been on pause for a while, and it's special to be back here in this, like I said, amazing setting with all of you to perform this very special ceremony. And like all of the folks who are going to participate in today's ceremony, I became a United States citizen through the naturalization process myself, which makes it doubly special for me to be able to preside as an officer of the court at a ceremony like this. And so with all of that, I'll start the formal portion of the proceedings. So court is convened for the naturalization of foreign-born individuals who qualified to become citizens of the United States of America. And a special thank you and a welcome to all of the applicants, their families, and their friends for attending this very special ceremony. And indeed, a thank you and a welcome to all of the rest of you as well. At this time, the court recognizes Santiago Santos, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services Military Liaison Officer for Central Texas.
Good morning, Your Honor. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services called 6 applicants for naturalizations to report here today. 3 of the applicants have included petitions for name changes with their respective applications. If it pleases the court, Your Honor, on behalf of United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, it gives me great pleasure to move that the 6 applicants in attendance today have their applications be accepted by the court along with any request for name change.
And Officer Santos, have you satisfied yourself that all the remaining petitioners are present in court here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have each of the petitioners complied with all the requirements of the law and the regulations in every respect?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied from your examination that each petitioner is entitled to be admitted to United States citizenship?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then based upon your qualifications and the motion of the examiner, the petitions for admission to citizenship and change of name are approved and granted. And at this time, Officer Santos, will you please name the petitioner's countries that are represented at today's ceremony? So for example, if South Africa were named, that would be my country. That's the country of my prior citizenship. And so as each of the countries is named, if each of our applicants and indeed anybody else who in the audience who would like to stand and remain standing will recognize their countries at this time.
Your Honor, today we have 5 countries with 6 applicants. Brazil. Jamaica. Mongolia. South Korea.
Almost.
Vietnam.
Thank you. Now, please remain standing for just the applicants. In a few moments, you'll become American citizens. However, prior to today, even though you weren't citizens of the United States, each of you served this country as a member of its armed forces. And I and the rest of us want to extend our thanks and gratitude to each of you for your service. And now, I'm going to administer the oath of naturalization. So will each of you please raise your right hand? And this is a bit of a mouthful, so bear with me. Do each of you hereby declare on oath or solemnly affirm under penalty of perjury that you absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of whom or which you have heretofore been subjects or citizens, that you will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that you will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law, that you will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by law, that you will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by law, and that you will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. If you do, please say, I do. You may lower your hands. By the authority vested in me as a United States Magistrate Judge, and by your qualifications and the oath that each of you has just taken, I declare that each of you is now a citizen of the United States of America. Congratulations. And now, if I may, I would just like to ask everybody, if you would, to please join me in standing and facing the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice Thanks. Please be seated. Officer Santo, sorry. Would you like to call each of the applicants up and present them with their certificate, since we have so few today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and call them up. Well, I haven't looked at their name. I can't promise I'm going to pronounce anybody's name correctly. So my name's a mouthful too. So you better. I don't even know where to look. No problem. This looks a lot different than my certificate, which on mine, my picture is literally taped on there with little like piece of. It's a lot more high tech these days.
Mr. Gustavo Rodriguez Corvallis. Ms. Flovina Knight. Ms. Jabsam Daluam Erdine. Mr. Jason Cho. Mr. Min Win. Mr. Michael Wynn.
All right, and how about one last round of applause just for all of our applicants and new citizens. Welcome. And with that, board is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Again, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you, Judge Farrer, Officer Santos, and your staff for this well-deserved recognition ceremony. A very big thank you to the newest citizens of our great nation for all you have done for the United States of America. Let's give these proud warriors a standing ovation and thanks for all that they have done.
Sit back and enjoy the wonderful singing from the Texas Children Choir presenting American Dream. Correction, we're going to do Mansions of the Land of the Lord and the American Dream. Thank you. Okay, in honor of Tom, Mr. Tom Ernest and Mrs. Ernest. Can't do it without you girls. Thank you, the Texas Children Choir, another fantastic performance. Thank you so much.
It's an honor to introduce our guest speaker, Robert J. West. Mr. West is a retired Air Force colonel and currently the Director of Aircraft Maintenance for the 12th Flying Training Wing at Randolph Air Force Base. Without further introduction, Mr. West.
Ronald Reagan said, "We remember those who were called upon to give all a person can give. And we remember those who were prepared to make that sacrifice if it were demanded of them in the line of duty, though it never was. Most of all, we remember the devotion and gallantry with which all of them made their nation proud as they became champions of a noble cause. To those in uniform, serving today, and to those who have served in the past, we honor you today and every day. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. I am honored and humbled to be with you to share some of my thoughts about being a veteran and what that means to me. I have some experience as the son of a veteran, the father of a veteran, the nephew of a couple of veterans, and a veteran myself. My dad wanted so badly to join the military in World War II that he stole his brother's birth certificate and joined the Navy, but he was only 16. My grandfather went and got him. He eventually joined the Air Force and retired with 28 years of service. His brother Jack, though, was 18 and joined the Army and fought across North Africa, through Italy, and finally to Germany. He's 96 and still sharp as a tack, but only talks about playing poker. But when you try to get him to talk about his experiences, he just wants to talk about playing poker and the camaraderie he had with his fellow soldiers. My Uncle Dole served in the Army during the Korean War, and he only talks about how long it took to get to and from Korea by ship. He said it was pretty miserable. But he did say it was better to spend several months with fellow soldiers that had experience of the same trauma before heading home. My son and I spent time deploying to different AORs. He is a security forces specialist, and I as an aircraft maintainer. Brothers in arms have a common bond. Even though we served in different generations and different branches of the military, we have the same deep sense of duty, honor, and love of country. It is important for all of us to pass on our experiences to the next generation, to make sure our stories are not lost. So veterans, tell your stories. Early in my career, I lost a good friend in a training accident. Ned O'Brien and I were commissioned into the Air Force in 1983 at the University of Wyoming. He went to pilot training, and I got married and went to aircraft maintenance officer school. We ended up at MacDill Air Force Base, Tampa, Florida, in the same squadron with the Air Force's newest fighter, the F-16 Falcon. Ned was the middle of 5 brothers, the glue that held them together. His father would talk about his 4 sons that were doctors, but he would brag that his one son was an Air Force fighter pilot. Ned went on to win Top Gun out of his UPT class and was giving all he had to learn to master the F-16. He G-locked and went unconscious during an exercise and crashed in the Gulf of Mexico. His death was instrumental in developing a new flotation system that would automatically inflate and keep a pilot from drowning. I volunteered to take Ned home to his family in Omaha, the toughest task I've ever had to do. When I presented the flag to his mother and told her it was presented from a grateful nation, she grabbed me, held me tight, and didn't let go for a long time. Ned loved flying, and he signed up to give everything to protect and serve his country. Shortly after that tragedy, Colonel Leroy Stutz became our new maintenance group commander, and I would learn a lot about the Hanoi Hilton. Being a POW, and how brave Americans endured extreme conditions that would break lesser men. Colonel Stutz spent 6 years in the Hanoi Hilton after he and his Wizzo were shot down in their F-4C Phantom after their 64th mission over Vietnam. Leroy told us about the small efforts they would make to resist, but he and his fellow captives were tortured mercilessly during their incarceration. He would tell us about being hung up by his wrist, tied behind his back for hours until his shoulders dislocated. But he endured it because of the support they gave to each other, keeping in touch with their cellmates through a secret tap code they had established over the years of confinement. He was finally released, rejoined his family, and participated in the Freedom Flyer program that reintroduces POWs back to flying with the 560th Flying Training Squadron here at Randolph Air Force Base. Unfortunately, his Wizzo's remains were not found until many years later, but at least the family had some closure. Many years later, as I retired from the Air Force and transitioned into civil service as the Director of Maintenance for the 12th Aircraft Maintenance Organization, I was amazed by the stories that some of my Vietnam vets had to share with me, and it was just by chance that I got to hear them. And it usually wasn't the vets telling me their stories. It was their buddies. There were two stories that stood out. One of my guys was a crewman in a PT gunboat. His crew would patrol and protect convoys and come to the aid of platoons that were in trouble. In one mission, their boat was attacked, and the boat exploded and sunk. He had quickly realized when the attack started that it would go very badly for them, and he pulled two of his crewmates into the water under fire and got them to safety. Another one of my technicians was a helicopter gunner, and he had been shot down 3 times and had to save his crews and evaded capture just to fly again. These wonderful vets have pretty much all retired. So please, help them tell their stories, search them out, and pass it on. For those that want to understand what veterans have had to endure from World War II to Afghanistan, consider watching one of the episodes from the Medal of Honor series that Netflix is showing. There are 8 episodes, and they are amazing, but my favorite was the account of Vito Bertoldo, who single-handedly stopped an invasion of German tanks into a key French town that was critical to winning the war. He was the true Captain America. Every high schooler should have to watch this series to appreciate what veterans have done for our country. JFK said, "But these memories, sad and proud, these quiet grounds, this cemetery, and others like it all around the world remind us with pride of our obligation and our opportunity." Veterans, you have honorably served your nation with great distinction. We can never say it enough. For your service in war and in peace, thank you, and God bless you. God bless our troops, all of our veterans, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you for listening to a few of my stories.
Thank you, Mr. West, for being here today and sharing those encouraging and appropriate words with us on this Veterans Day. Let's again listen to the great Texas Children's Choir sing "America the Beautiful." Wow. You know, what can be said about the choir except outstanding? Thank you, Dr. Hardaway. Let's give him another round of applause. Fort Sims' own 323rd Army Band will now play This Is My Country. Please join them in singing. The words are listed in the program. At this time, we will retire the colors.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remain standing for the 3 volleys of the rifle fire, the sounding of taps, and retiring the colors. Color guard, retire the colors.
Please be seated. I don't believe any of us can express the gratitude that the Texas Children's Choir and the Fort Sam Zone 323rd Army Band have given us today and how they have warmed our hearts. We hope you've enjoyed our Veterans Day ceremony. Thanks to the Veterans Day Committee, Mr. Aubrey David, Director of the Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery, and his staff for their hard work keeping the cemetery in meticulous condition, allowing us these hallowed grounds for our ceremony. A special thanks to the men and women of the veterans and patriotic groups, to the many military and civilian personnel of Fort Sam Houston for their continued support. A special thanks to the MacArthur High School Army Junior ROTC for their contribution to the Veterans Day ceremony. A special thanks to the Fort Sam Houston Memorial Service Detachment, who give each of themselves every day of the year, rendering honors to our brothers and sisters that have been called home to start a new life with the Lord. They have been performing these honors for 29 years and have rendered those honors for our brothers and sisters in excess of 41,000 services. Following the benediction by Chaplain Waltz, our ceremony will be concluded. We challenge each one of you to tell our servicemen and women just how much they mean to us and the United States of America every time you see them. God bless you, God bless our military, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you, and have a safe trip home. Chaplain Waltz will now give the benediction. Sir, if you please.
Please join your heart with mine in this closing prayer. Thank you, dear God, for the vivid memories that have been stirred in each of us here today. Thank you for allowing me the privilege of being a citizen of these United States of America and to experience the kind of protection that we would receive in this land. Thank you for giving us the privilege to celebrate with these new citizens. Thank you for the vivid memories that have been proclaimed today. Now help me and help us to go from this setting and make this Veterans Day better for some veteran we encounter today. Amen.
Also, as you exit the cemetery, you're going straight ahead to the side entrance to Winans Road. You'll make a left, and that'll take you out to here at North Park. Thank you.
I got him to speak with me too. Can I speak with both of you all?
It's up
if
to
you don't
you.
mind. Yeah. Okay, so you're. I'll hold on to that. I'll hold on.
Oh.
You don't have to repeat. Just your name first.
My name is Jose Campos Jr.
Tell me a little bit about your service.
I have served in the military 20 years and 9 days, 2 combat tours in Vietnam, one in 1965 with the 101st Airborne Division, and one with the 5th Special Forces in 1970 through 1971.
And just to talk about today, why is it important to have these ceremonies to recognize veterans, not just for those in the military, but for people who aren't in the military? Why should it be important for them too?
Well, first of all, we should be thankful for the veterans that have served this nation, because that's what's allowed us to be free. In addition to that, this is the first time that I have heard somebody also get the spouses involved, because when our spouses are holding the home front, we can perform our mission in an outstanding manner. We have no worries. But very seldom do you have somebody say thank you to the spouses, just thank you to the veterans. Of course, the veterans are important, but so is the spouse.
It takes more than just
Yes, sir.
military.
Yes, sir.
And I guess just how does it, when you look around here today, you look out there, you see the sacrifices, you see the gathering here today, just tell me your feelings. How does it make you feel that we still have these, they're not forgotten?
Well, we shouldn't forget these veterans, and we should have a larger output from the public as far as attendance is concerned, and also publicize. Unfortunately, sometimes they don't publicize it enough. I believe this was the case this year, and perhaps it was because of coronavirus that we're facing. But this is the smallest group of attendees I have seen at a veterans ceremony.
But still good to see, I guess, the recognition.
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I'm thankful to have survived and that I'm here, and thankful to the other veterans that came before me that allowed me to serve my country, and it's the future veterans also.
I'm sorry. No problem. No problem at all. You're perfect right there. And you'll just look at me and just look at the camera. Sure. Can I get your name?
Yes, I'm J.R. Garza. I'm the past commander for the Disabled American Veterans here in San Antonio.
Awesome. And just tell me a little bit about your military experience.
Military experience, I served in the United States Army, Vietnam, with the 173rd Assault Helicopter Company up at Dong Ha on the DMZ.
Just talk about today. What does it mean to you to see?
You know, one of the most impressive things that I ran across is the young soldiers that became American citizens today. And ironically, 2 of those soldiers are Vietnamese or were Vietnamese residents, and they migrated here to America, and they become American citizens today. And so that shows me the continuation of our patriots that are willing to serve our nation, to protect our nation. And too many times we forget that our freedom is purchased at the cost of people's lives. And so today is very important to us for people to recognize that we are here to serve, regardless of whether we're in uniform or not. We're still going to serve our country. And so that's why we're here.
And speak about why it's important for people who are not in the military. Why is today?
You know, it's important for the general public to understand that today is not a day of hot dogs and picnics and barbecues. Today is to honor the people that have served our nation honorably. And so that's why we are here, to remember them and to remember that each of the people that have served before us, it's a chain of patriots that are willing to do whatever is necessary to protect our country.